Badass interview. He had some choice comments about AD. And then AD, of course, because I talked about him for like 30 seconds on the Snoopy Badass episode, he has to do a whole stream where he's talking about me throughout the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. He's playing GTA. He's role-playing as me. It's like, I don't know. I mean, the general impression I got from the comments and stuff.
AD
Nothing.
in the interview.
Yeah, thank you, Brick Baby, who was actually there. I said like nothing about him, but he was, I guess, upset because he doesn't like the idea of me interviewing somebody and asking them about something that they said about him. So then after this long ass stream, the next day I happened to do Bootleg Kev. He asked me, "Why is AD talking about you and making every stream about you, etc.?" And I basically said that I think he was pissed off because, I asked Snoopy Badass about him and he wants this special treatment. He doesn't want like me to ask somebody who had previously dissed him about him. And he was mad about that. That's what I said. Now, the other thing that apparently really got under his skin is Bootleg Kev said, well, those guys who left No Jumper, they're probably making more money now than they were on No Jumper, right?
Yeah.
And
That's what Bootleg Kev said.
I said no. I said that is certainly not the case. And it doesn't take a genius. You could go look at the Figmunity analytics, go to their Social Blade, look how many views they get per month, and tell me if you think that the amount of money that they're making from that one podcast that they do a week split into like 4 or 5 pieces, if you think that that's more than the full-time. AD, in his own words, frequently would say that he was making 6 figures a year from No Jumper. Yeah. So you look at how many views that channel is getting and then split it 5 ways and then tell me that that they're each making 6 figures a year off of that. It's actually insane that they're actually trying to pass this off on the people.
Is that like 80, like what is 6 figures considered? Is that
it would be like eight grand a month basically, or like a little bit more, which is, AD actually showed, I could tell that I really triggered him because he was showing his No Jumper pay stubs after taxes, keep in mind, on his stream last night. And if you look at those and you listen to what he said about how he was actually getting another check in addition to what he was showing, it basically all adds up to something close to what he was saying, which was like 6 figures a year, right? And so I don't know why he showed the receipts on camera, because based on what I've read in the comments and on the Reddit, it seems like the fans almost universally agree that he was being overpaid, which was our experience as well, is that we definitely weren't making as much money from the content as we were paying him. It was just kind of something that we were still doing because of the fact that he had been a brand for that long. So then you look at their channel now, you would have to be absolutely out of your mind to think that those dudes are making more money from that channel than they were making, than AD was making at No Jumper.
Including ad revenue and the side shit that they do and what they charge people to come on their platform, or if
do they charge people to go on there? I don't know. They might be making more money than you think from advertising or whatever, but I don't believe for a second. I think it's absolutely absurd that he's actually trying to pass this off on people.
But not that one podcast, but I'm just saying he's probably saying like as a whole. With but he was doing shit on the side.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing, is that the money that he was making from Community, his channel, he was already making that while he was doing No Jumper. So you can't count that.
So what's the beef though? I'm trying to figure it out. Like,
I know it's hard to understand how they're being this sensitive.
Go ahead.
But, I mean, I guess the beef is just that, well, number one, they just need stuff to talk about. So that's why we're in the thumbnail. That's why they got to talk about us over and over and over, is just because they got nothing else to talk about. What I said on Bootleg Kev was pretty obviously true. Almost impossible to argue. And AD actually went on his stream and basically like proved exactly what I was saying by showing the pay stubs and acknowledging.
Well, he didn't show how much they're making. That's what I was.
He showed how much he was making from No Jumper. What he didn't show the people. What would actually prove it? What would actually prove what I was saying, which he will never do, is
right now.
No, not Community, Figmunity. So show us what Figmunity makes you right now, and then we'll be able to actually contrast and compare and see if you are actually making like $8,000 a month off of Figmunity, which, spoiler, is not happening. It's like obviously just not true.
I feel like with this, like this be the problem with us. It causes a beef when it's just really friendly competition. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it should be like a competition thing. Like, okay, you think you make more, I make more. How can we prove this?
But this is the problem. Is
for views.
I went on there on Bootleg Kev, and I answered his questions honestly. And I had
You did a Bootleg Kev interview also?
Yes, and I love that you don't know that because you like Shitty is really in the streets. He's really doing his thing. He's not tapped into the minutia of the Reddit or whatever. So that's what I'm here. I'm to fill
I
you guys
have to
in on
download
this.
Reddit just today.
Just leave it out of your life. You don't want to be part of it. You're better off without it. Anyway, so I go on there and I said some simple statements of fact. I wasn't disrespectful. I just said that I didn't believe that they were making as much money, which is a obvious fact. Yeah. And then I also laid out the situation with Snoopy Badass. What do I get as a result? I get AD and his overweight manager sitting in this tiny little room talking about how they gonna stand on business, how they gonna fuck me up, how I need to be careful out here in these streets.
I didn't see that part.
Before I went on stream, let me go to my Instagram story right now because I preemptively knew that this was going to happen. Listen to my story from yesterday.
Style of podcaster are people who can hear a valid argument, can hear a valid conversation, and then they go on the podcast and they want to convince you that they're hard and they could beat somebody up.
Does this sound familiar?
I think I speak on behalf of basically the entire audience.
The whole world. The whole world, Adam.
When I say that we don't care.
We don't care.
You gotta actually do it.
You gotta do it.
On the podcast.
You gotta slide.
A defunct style of podcasting.
That'll be working out too much.
Slide,
You know, he a biker. He got that energy.
It's not the place to do it. So
if you want to act tough, the podcast is not the place to do it. So I called my shot. I'm motherfucking Babe Ruth in this bitch. I go on my story. I call out exactly what their response is going to be. And what do? They do this musty ass, broke ass shit. And they sit around and talk about, ooh, Adam gonna get touched. LOL. How the fuck did I call it? And I mean it too, because when you look at the Reddit, when you look at the comments, nobody is impressed. You're never gonna take a W by hopping on a podcast, talking about a verbal beef, a beef of ideas, a war of ideas. You're never gonna take the W by going on your podcast and talking about how tough you are. It makes you sound goofy. Do you really think that I'm scared of Pun waiting outside of the building? You know exactly where we work. What are we talking about? If you wanted to do something, you're not going to talk about it on the podcast. You probably already would have done it. I'm not worried about it. I'm just saying I'm not worried about it. So you can talk as tough as you want on the podcast. I'm not sweating. I don't even have deodorant on. I got an all-natural scent right now. I'm not perspiring. That's just how I feel. So you can talk about how fucking tough you are. So nobody's worried about it.
Who is Pun? Where is he from?
I don't know.
Like that's I always wanted to know that. Like it just was like because this Ace boy he be calling a lot of shots. I be seeing like I would see like.
But no bodies are dropping, Brick Baby. Adam 22's still out here living good. He's saying he's gonna kill me. He plotted out the whole fucking crime on his live stream last night. If you ask me, it might be a terms of service violation. We might have to call up YouTube and say, look at this guy plotting an assassination on his channel. I know you don't want anything to do with it because it sounds like snitching, right? I'm not going for it. Ain't nobody scared around here. That's all I'm saying. So if you really want to do something, you're going to have to actually do it. You're not going to just sit here and plot out my death on your live stream and think that I'm going to be worried about it. You're telling on yourself. If you plot my death on the live stream, everybody knows that nothing's going to happen. And to anybody else who thinks that they're tough, they think that, oh, we're sitting in this little hot box ass room, so we hard too. Go for it. Yeah. I'm out here. I'm in the field. So if anybody,
showing the field,
I'm in the field. I'm all over the field. I'm in the dugout. I'm on first base, second base, third base. I'm in the outfield. I'm in left field.
Adam. Show everything. Shoes. You ain't playing.
Check my shoes out.
That nigga not playing. Don't play with nigga shoes like that. In the field.
You know what this means? I've been kicking shit up. I ain't worried about nothing.
Kicking up dust.
I'm Lil B. My shoes is low to the ground and dirty.
You better run because he ready for war. He ain't got to change. He going straight for it.
I ain't worried about nothing. That's all I gotta say.
Hey. My whole thing is this, bro. I let you get it off your chest, so I ain't, you know what I mean? They say I never disagree with you or nothing like that. And it's hard to when the motherfucking situations like this come about because it's like, goddamn, a motherfucker, I was here.